Hello and welcome back to the Village Inn pub in East Durham. How are we doing tonight? All right. It's fantastic to be here. There's a few familiar faces dotted about as well. We'll get to them. But of course, the big news topic of the day was Sir Jim Ratcliffe saying this.
You can't have an economy with 9 million people on benefits and huge levels of immigrants coming in. I mean, the UK is being colonised. It's costing too much money. It will cause... It'll cause... Well, the UK is being colonised by immigrants, really, isn't it?
Sir Keir Starmer and Sir Ed Davey called for him to apologise. The left-wing media went absolutely crazy over it.
Can't even begin to imagine how warped your brain has to be to arrive at a conclusion like this.
The UK is being colonised by immigrants, really, isn't it?
If Elon Musk has taught us anything, it's that you can make immense amounts of money and still be a complete prat.
The population of the UK was 58 million in 2020. Now it's 70 million.
His numbers are wrong. His conscience is screwed. His input is vile.
And the students at Durham University, they certainly didn't like it.
Poorly phrased. It's quite inflammatory language. But obviously, there's a lot of anger in the country for kind of obvious reasons. So, but yeah, I think it's quite poorly phrased. Yeah.
There's massive value in diversity, and I think to say that the immigrants are colonising England is probably quite a dangerous rhetoric. And one that is going to lead to even more divisiveness in the country.
I think his use of words was not good. Colonised is a terrible, terrible word to say with that, particularly given its historical connotations. So I think it was a poor choice of words, poor phrasing.
Look, I do want to give a bit of a shout out actually to the Durham University students, because I must say I was very pleasantly surprised with a lot of them there, so credit to them, fair enough. But look, let's deal with some facts here, okay? What is colonisation? Well, colonisation is the large-scale migration of people overwhelming an indigenous group. Maybe a little bit like this. You know, it can also be, can't it, the exploitation of a country's natural resources. Well, we spend billions, don't we, on asylum seeker hotels and benefits and for them to use the NHS. Also, you know, making people submit to your laws. Now, whilst this might not be the official law in the UK, we are, remarkably, the Western capital for Sharia courts, which is absolutely nuts when you think about it. So, of course, Sir Jim Ratcliffe apologised. He caved in, but people here certainly don't think he needed to. And let's speak to a couple of these people now. So thank you very much for joining us. Now, sir, I understand that you don't really think that Jim Ratcliffe had that much to apologise for, do you?
No, not really. I'm not against immigration. It's just that we should be looking after our own people first. And the central government just doesn't seem to be putting our people before them. And we seem to have an open door policy of letting anybody in. And now in this area, we seem, because we're like a deprived area and we've got low price housing, we seem to be getting a lot moving in here, which I'm not against. It's just that I've worked all my life, paid my stamp all my life, 40 odd years, and yet we're letting people into the country that have not paid a penny and they're getting given everything. If I was in their boat, I'd probably do the same.
Well, quite literally in their boat in some cases,
Yeah.
actually, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think if you were in a deprived place where they've come from, but it's just that we seem to be making our people suffer. And I think that's what a lot of people are not so bothered about. I don't think racialism comes into it or anything like that. I think it's just the fact that they're actually bleeding money from people that are already here.
Yeah, and I think this kind of view is really quite common the second that you get out the M25 and the second that you speak to real people in real towns where there is deprivation, where actually maybe they could do with a leg up. I went and saw some of those empty houses today on 5th Street, and we're going to show that next. You don't believe what's going on there. Why can't they be given to homeless military veterans or people along those lines? Why are they in that state of disrepair? But I'd just love to bring...
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cybercriminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GBNews discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GBnews to start protecting yourself digitally today.
Bring you in now. I'll get you to introduce yourself to everyone at home, of course. But what do you think about what Jim Ratcliffe said there, really, in terms of being forced to apologise, I suppose?
I have quite a problem with people having an opinion and then there seems to be another opinion almost forces them into apologising for whichever language they used, whichever tone they've used. We all can say things and it's called freedom of speech. And if you're going to get this policing of speech, when is it going to be your turn to be the one who can't say what you really think, whether it be in the street, whether it be in a cafe, whether it be in a cinema, in a pub, in a newspaper letter, on TV. And so Jim might have said something that maybe was badly phrased, but isn't he entitled to say it? And if you get some of these people who clearly don't agree with his politics and such like, why is theirs the right way of saying it? Why is theirs the one that doesn't get censored?
Well, quite. And I think Jim could probably take a bit of comfort knowing that this is the exact conversation that we're being had in most pubs up and down the country.
I think you're right,
But I know you were very keen to talk about some of the local issues. I mean, it's all linked to this, right? Isn't it? Because kind of what he was saying was that there's a bit of a drain of resources and that people who live in this country, who pay their tax, etc., are being shafted, right? And you got a bit of experience of that in your local area.
Well, I think one of the things we see in all of our pit villages around here is a real deterioration in what we've got actually in the villages. Around our villages we might have new retail parks, we might have certain areas that are really prospering, great, but when you get to the heart of our little places, when you've got the main streets have got next to no shops in, we still might have doctors and post office and dentists, but where's the variety of shops? We want our local entrepreneurs, our local business people to try to get a foothold. We're looking forward to Durham County Council, not only reindustrialisation but regeneration, because that goes for housing, it goes for shopping, it goes for bus routes. Right. And really our people need a package and it needs us to really work together.
Well, we're
That's
going to be speaking
for.
to a bloke who's basically the leader of the council, I think, in a second.
Yeah,
so you can put it directly to them. I'll throw it over to you in the studio. The mood here, clearly, is that Jim Ratcliffe had nothing to apologise for.
That's right.
Indeed, Patrick, and that's great speaking to real people, isn't it? Because that's the difference here. We can all talk in the political bubble about whether we think he was right or wrong, but at the end of the day, the decision comes down to you at home. Matthew Larson, was Jim Ratcliffe right to say what he said?
No, he wasn't right to say it in the way he said it. He's perfectly at liberty to express his political views, but that choice of language was deeply unfortunate. It was deeply offensive to a lot of people.
Why is it
because using the word colonised is, in the context of history and our own British history is just deeply inappropriate. I also have to say that Patrick says that real people aren't saying that he should apologise, and we'll let Patrick off because he probably can't hear the vox pops, the clips from real people from Patrick and my hometown of Manchester, outside Patrick's beloved Old Trafford Stadium, where you saw there that there were a whole load of people who thought he should apologise for his choice of language. I mean, the other thing about Jim Ratcliffe is, A, he wants more money out of the government because he's for his plans. So that's one of the reasons he's in a grumpy mood, because he doesn't always get it. And secondly, I mean, I love a guy who voted for Brexit, campaigned for Brexit. Don't know if he may have even put money in, I'm not sure, into the Brexit campaign, and then did one to Monaco to be a tax exile as soon as Brexit went through. Well, the irony of it.
Well, Lord Bailey, the Prime Minister came out, and I think this was unprecedented for the Prime Minister to try and police a private citizen's free speech. Whether the Prime Minister likes it or not, whether the Labour Party likes it or not, it's not for the Prime Minister to be telling people to shut up and apologise.
Look, the Prime Minister should be above these things. People are allowed to have their opinion. Was it rough language? Yes. Would I have said it? Absolutely not. But the point is this, Matthews just displayed why the left are going to lose, because they demonise people, they demonise language. Everybody's quick to jump on his inequities, but nobody jumps on their inequities, because let's be clear, if Jim is a terrible fella, Starmer should no longer be Prime Minister. His transgressions are far bigger than Jim's, and he's running our entire country. So look, let's give this thing some balance. But let's be clear, what's the real shame with comments from the press, left and right, mainly left, is that they didn't concentrate on what he was saying, what he was trying to convey.
Yeah.
And again, Matthew made a comment early on that Patrick's in the heartland of Labour. I don't believe he is. The heartland of Labour's down here in the south.
It is now.
Run by public school boys who've done a very good job at disguising themselves as not being public school boys, and that's what dominates. That's what dominates the language. That's what dominates the language, and that's what dominates the sensibilities. That's why there's such a disconnect between Labour's heartland and what Labour are doing. And if Matthew's about to tell me off about public school boys, I have no problem with them. The Tory party is based on them. That's not my point.
I don't want to talk about public school boys.
Just to be factual,
I want to talk about them.
This is the first time we've had a British cabinet which hasn't got a public school. Anybody
I don't want to talk about
them.
them. I don't want to talk about them because we're talking about Jim Ratcliffe and what he said, because this is a view held by, I'm sure, millions of British people across the country, and they're right to be able to hold it. You can look at things like two-tier police, and we've seen so many examples of that recently, particularly in certain parts of the country. I won't go to too many of them here and now, but people feel that there is a dominant religion and a dominant culture coming to Britain that is colonising and changing their way of life. Would you argue that against that, Matthew?
Well, I don't think it's... I literally don't think it's colonising it in the meaning of that word. Look, if you've got a local authority which doesn't... Where people put up a St George's flag and they take it down, and people put up a Palestine flag and they don't take it down, I don't agree with that. Is there a sensible debate about about migration? Absolutely. The government is bringing legal
so
migration
down.
Why
Minister
hugely,
Jim
but it was the use of that word
rather
that
than
lots
just telling
of
me he
people
shouldn't have said it. The thing is, the Prime Minister had nothing to say about what the essence of the debate.
I'm not sure about that. I mean, I heard Rachel Reeves
apologise. These are disgusting comments.
Well, that's the clip the media have used, and we don't know what else he said in the interview. I mean, Rachel Reeves, I heard today saying, let him express his opinion, but what we don't want is the use of language like that, which a lot of people find offensive, including those people who we heard from outside the Man U ground.
All right.